Welcome to the Advanced Grass Solutions Turf Hub podcast. AGS is a leading provider of agronomy services, exclusive products, and unrivaled customer support, underpinned by a well-qualified and experienced team of former sports turf managers. AGS. Supply, consult, support.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Turf Hub podcast. I'm Joe Hendy, and today I'm in conversation with Sean Williams, head groundsman of Gloucestershire County Cricket Club. Sean, how are you doing?
Good, Joe, thank you. A bit cold, but we're okay. We've got coffee, so we're all right.
Yeah.
Brought me lunch, so happy days.
It is true, I did bring a wonderful lunch today. Steak lunches all round. So what are we looking at out there? So you've got just the one pitch, or?
Yeah, I wish. The squares out there coming along. Bit thin, but we're okay. A lot better coverage than we had this time last year, where I was concerned because of the winter before was probably the wettest we'd earned. But again, we've probably had a wet one, but we managed to get a lot of seed in end of season. So quite happy. We're just teasing it along at the moment, trying to keep it going. A little bit of pre-season run. I'll go too mad because there's obviously a lot of.
So a typical year then. So a typical season. Your first renovation of the year would be when? So.
Well, we say the first renovation of the year would be as soon as we finished last season.
Oh, so your last renovation of the year is your first renovation.
Well, because we really were preparing for next season from scratch, aren't we? So last year it was in the middle of October because of COVID. We had late games well into October. We still had we had a quarter final here, so that was late. So we could have been even later. We managed to get a lot of it done by the end of October, which is just very late, isn't it? It didn't actually chuck it down until into November. So we'd had 2 weeks where new seed had it established, and it was moving along. So
talk about cricket in a non-COVID year. So typically through the winter, so you do renovation late September, October.
Yep. Through
the winter, you host winter nets. Is that right?
In past years, we've had nets in a marquee from this time, so end of February, beginning of March.
Yeah.
Where we've been obviously covered between Christmas the past couple of years, so we get enough start to get it dry for end of February for indoor nets in the marquee. We've not got that this year. Cutbacks and people can't go away, so we are in a bit of pressure to try and get something out. We almost had them on a bowl through today. We're probably going to be the second in the country for getting the nets outside. I think Essex just beat us this morning, so I'm not happy with Stewie down there. And I've already told him so. And they had a foot of snow 2 weeks ago as well, so they've done really well. So hopefully we're going to get them outside on Monday.
Yeah.
But that's the season's here and well underway, and we've got all staff back now, so we're flat out.
So obviously with the pandemic, I don't want to make it a pandemic cast, but so the last 12 months you guys have been operating on furlough, flexi furlough. You all been in, or?
Yeah, from this time last year it was just me and one lad who was in who couldn't be furloughed, so we were in through from end of March or beginning of April through till April, May, beginning of June, and then we gradually managed to bring some of the lads back because we did get a few games in last year. And we also had some England players training here before they went off to England, play at Jizz Bowl and Old Trafford. So we had nets out from June. Bobby Bracey was out there for a bit. Heather Knight was out there for quite a while before they went into their camps. So we were getting nets ready. But the square was in great condition because we were just gardeners for a bit, just keeping the grass growing and cutting the grass, because that's what we were able to do. We were able to do much more than that because there was two of us. And get the water on because it was dry in April. So
and normally, what would your how big is your team? How many members of staff have you got?
We managed to get up to 6 beginning of last year, which is the first time ever we've had 6 here, which is great. Which is great for the club moving forward to try and improve things and spread loads throughout the year, so we can take time off during the summer. Not long, but we can spread it around us. So that's the idea.
Here's the big question. Who has the best lunches?
During the winter, coming in, Callum Loud certainly has the best lunches because his girlfriend makes them for him every night. So he comes in with a big bag every morning and says he's on a diet and
bless him,
has a bag full.
And who has the worst lunches?
Well, Cliff normally ends up going down Sainsbury's, so he's probably ended up having a decent one. Chandler doesn't eat much, so
No.
I wouldn't want to eat his lunch.
So obviously there's different forms of the game. You've got your county cricket, your one-day cricket, your 2020 cricket, your international cricket.
Yeah.
Obviously you have to prep a wicket for an outfield, obviously for all those different modes of the game.
Yeah.
Is there a difference between prepping for 2020 to prepping for, say, international, for example?
Yeah, international in 1 day is probably not. I know it's easy to say, and there's a big cliche that we do exactly the same, but technically we do, and we do prepare them the same. We start on the same time out. We'd start 12, 20, again, depending on the weather. All depending on the weather. Keep your forecast 2 weeks in advance just to give you a clue with how much drying time you're going to get in the next couple of weeks. So you don't want to start it too early if it's going to be a real hot spell. So delay the start of it and work accordingly. So that would not really change between an ODI and a T20 or a 50 over game. Basically, to get we're not having a lot of live grass on it, and we're getting it down, trying to get the pace through, much as we are for the 4-day game. A 4-day game, obviously, you want it to last the 4 days, so it's harder to get a wicket out because you want it to do what everybody wants it to do. So it does a little bit of movement early on, perhaps, then drying out and maybe get some turn on it. It's very difficult to produce that, and
It's quite an art. I think
it is, and I'm still not proficient at it. We're still learning. We are still learning, and every year we try different things. We go down. It's tinkering with things all the time to try and improve it. We're doing a lot of soil work now. We're doing a lot of more monitoring than we've ever done. We're trying to put that together in an easy to use piece of kit that we can monitor what we're doing and how we're going. But again, governed by the weather, it's not making a cake.
I mean, really, your biggest challenges on a sort of daily basis, really, I guess, is the weather.
It totally is. I mean, another job I'd be a weather forecaster because I do that most of the time.
So typical day, what time do you wake up?
6.
Up at 6?
Up at 6, yeah.
And what's the first thing you do?
I have a cup of coffee, mate. I don't have my caffeine in first thing. Yeah. It's gone.
And then you get into work. What time on a normal sort?
Well, because I live on site, it's like 10 seconds out when I can see out the window. So that's depending on the weather. If I know it's chucked it down during the night, I'll be out well before then, just checking it hasn't leaked underneath or someone gone underneath sheets or.
So
moved,
what time or how long would it take you on a normal day to check the weather? What time do you check? I mean, you wake up.
Well, probably. Same time as the kettle.
Is that it? So that's it. First thing, yeah. Basically, yeah.
It's on the phone or the news on the telly. Just from different sources. We've got radar that we've got into anything local, but it's nice to know what's happening next week, so you can plan for. Yeah. You just go day by day.
Right. Okay. So back to your pitch out there, your outfield and your squares. For those that aren't so clued up on cricket, so you've got your outfield, and the square bit in the middle is your pitch. Now on there, you've obviously got different lanes. I mean,
we're numbered to 27 across there.
27.
Only because that's what they were numbered as. We actually only use from now because of development on the ground. We only use from pitch 12 till 23 now for first class games. Yeah. Outside of that, it's second 11 games. Other friendlies, and then on the end is nets. So we haven't got much space for nets. We have got an off-field area which only is the equivalent of about 4 nets. That doesn't last very long, so we tend to use that once we've started in the middle. Obviously the middle is drier, so one end of the square is drier this time of year, which is why we start that end. Although the ground was redeveloped in 2009 with irrigation and the outfield levelled, there's still a full. So
yeah. So your widest pitch is number what? So the one that's closest as I look out the window.
This is pitch 1 this end.
Pitch
and we
1.
go to 27 the other end. Middle pitch, the middle pitch which we call our international pitch is pitch 18.
Yeah.
We're stuck with that as all the infrastructure around the ground is built around our international game. We've only got 5 TV pitches, so the flats have only got a balcony that covers 5 pitches for the cameras to go that end. So we are governed by any TV game. It's got to be in those.
So you have to plan your fixtures and what wicket you're using by TV games and that sort of thing.
We have to start back from there, really, which is a process we're going to do next week, because most of the fixtures have been confirmed now. We thought they were going to be changed and swapped around. The blast might have gone on to the end of the year, but that's now been confirmed it's not, so we're staying as we are, which is good news, and at least we know what we're doing. So we're sitting down next week with the coach, and we'll go through what our plans are, and we're governed by the internationals, and the women's internationals have got to go on TV pitches, so we work back from there.
I'll give you a scenario. Here's a scenario. North Bristol are playing South Bristol, right? And they're playing out on the square. They're on number 1.
Right, go on, yeah, keep going. North Bristol and South Bristol don't like that, mate. We're going Rovers City already.
Well, yeah. What's up? Rovers are playing City.
But I wouldn't let them on.
Right, I'll paint a scenario. Right, 2 teams. They're short of batsman and they're short of bowler. The bowling team, they'll look around. They can see on the outfield. They said, Sean, there's one ball left to bowl with this over. You need a dot ball to win. But the batting team, they're out of batters. Someone's got a bad back. As it happens, I'm in the crowd, and they've asked me to come out and just bat the last one. I just need to nudge a little single to win. Right?
Right.
So you're bowling, and I'm batting. So, obviously, I come up, give you a bit of eyeball on that. You come and eyeball me, I'm eyeballing you. I just slip in that the Starship Enterprise is a little bit shit, massively overrated, right? And you got the piss in you straight away. I can see it, right? The eyes have gone.
Bubbling.
You're absolutely bubbling. You took about a 20 metre run up, right? You're about to come steaming in. I'm a right-handed batsman. Now, as a rule, I'd be looking to hook it to my left, as it's easy. So you come steaming in. You're going to throw a, let's say you're going to take my head off, right? A bouncer. I can see it in your eyes. You're going to take my head off. But if I was to do a reverse, I've seen Peterson do it. So I'll swap the bat right to my left hand. What's to stop me doing a little nudge over this little boundary on this side, which is only about 20 metres away, when the one I was really going for was like 80 metres away? How does that work?
I can't picture it at all, Joe. Me coming off for 20 yards for a start, I wouldn't make it up 2 yards.
I can tell you, you're steaming in.
By the time we get on,
you're steaming in.
Steaming in does not compute.
I've always wondered. So if you're on the wide one, how the hell do you? Why wouldn't you just play it over the short boundary?
Well, I think they aim to, but I mean, a decent bowler would put it so you don't do it, and it sets your field to that side. Maybe set you into the trap so you do hit it to the smaller side. But when you've got to carry, you've got to hit it right, haven't you? You've got to connect properly with it to make it count.
Well, I think I'd probably.
I think you probably would. I think you probably would, Joey. I think it'd be into Kennington Avenue by the time.
Yeah, well, yeah, obviously.
I think
I did have Kennington marked. I've Google Earthed it.
Yeah.
I was going Kennington every day of the week.
Yeah.
No, that's good. So, obviously, we live in a world now of social media. Are you active on social media?
Ish, but not too much.
Not too much?
Yeah, it can be toxic. And I'm just speaking to a couple of lads from around the country today. A lot of stuff that's come out in the past week or so concerning India and things like that. There's a lot of...
So, I mean, I don't follow cricket massively closely, but even I know that obviously the recent international game only lasted 2 days.
Yeah.
And the groundsman got slated for that. I mean, not like I'm asking for your opinion necessarily on the groundsmanship, but I mean, would that be a groundsman's fault, or is that a?
The thing is, if there is any punishment, it's on the ground authority, not the country. Not going to get involved because there's a lot of things. I will get in trouble if I start saying anymore. But
I'm not.
If there's an issue with the pitch, it's the ground authority that gets charged. If we produced a poor pitch for England, judged by the ICC match referee who marks it, but until anybody knows what the match referee marks these pitches, nobody can comment because they don't know what their view is, and it's then that the ICC's decision whether they use demerit points. But again, it's the ground authority, so it's a ground that won't be able to host international games. It's not the team. So they're
the ones that suffer.
Yeah, and we're under that pressure of being, everyone gets marked, don't they? People get marked for this and that, but there is that. We have match referees for every game, and they mark every pitch, and we get a mark at the end of the year. And to be fair, over the past 5 or 6 years around the country, the county grounds have had decent marks.
So obviously it brings a lot of pressure. So what would you do to relax? You know, it's a high pressure thing. It's rained for 3 weeks. You've lost a game. Obviously, you didn't control the rain. I mean, the pressure that brings for yourself. I mean, what do you do in the evenings to relax? What do you do in your spare time?
Me, go down Ashton Gate when you can.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah,
fantastic stadium.
I see the boys down there because obviously know the boys around. Yeah, I like my football because it's my time with my lad.
Yeah.
So we go down and watch that. We get out we've got a dog. We take the dog out. We've got the family out. You know, we keep.
Well, I suppose living on site must be quite tricky. And do you find it a bit? Is it helpful to get away from site sometimes? Just have a day out.
Without a doubt, you need to get off site. You know, some weeks you can say I've not even been out the gate, which does happen, and until you realise that, until you've lived it, you don't really realise how that works.
Yeah.
So it is difficult, and you do need to go out the gate, even if it's going pick the wife up from work or something like that. You know, it's getting out of the gate. So
yeah.
Time does fly, and you don't realise. But you are on call. But then, I get to see the family more than some of the boys who've got to travel in, obviously. So
no, that's decent.
So we do, but yeah, the alarms go off on first call on the alarms going off at 2 o'clock in the morning as well. So
yeah, I wouldn't fancy that.
So I don't fancy it at 2 o'clock in the morning. Either,
what's your tool?
Well, don't
cricket
answer the
bat. Oh, right. I would have gone a wicket in both pockets and a bat.
Yeah. No, I know.
Yeah,
I've got a baseball bat in the office.
Yeah.
I know there is one. Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Well, and several cricket bats as well.
So obviously you're quite involved with, or you're trying to sort of reignite the local cricket association, the Gloucestershire
Grounds Association.
Yeah. Obviously that's for cricket, but it comes under the GMA. So how's that going?
Yeah, good. You came on the other week. We've done a couple of Zooms. It's been difficult, obviously, the past year. We like to do a pre-season meet where we get people in and go through a few ideas and have a couple of speakers in, and it's getting that community amongst the local lads really, so that they feel they've got someone they can talk to without having to.
It's support.
Just going mad and fill in a form or something. So it's just somebody you can pick up a phone or text a message to or anything, just to say, give us an idea. What can we do? How can we help?
Well, it was interesting because I picked up obviously there's regional advisors in throughout Gloucestershire.
Yeah.
I think it was. Is there 4?
Yeah, there is 4 now. It's changed very recently because it's obviously run through the GMA and they get funded by ECB. So we've had 2 in the region. But they're now changing the system, and so it's going to become a more obvious system of asking for help and it can be passed out through the Gloucester board.
Yeah,
so
and that's open.
One of the advisors.
So that's open to all groundsmen, all volunteers,
all cricket clubs that are a member of the Gloucester board are registered or already members.
So if someone was listening now and they were looking, they're an aspiring groundsman or sort of struggling groundsman, obviously in our region, who would they look to contact? What's their first?
Myself or Eric Woodmason at Gloucester Cricket Board.
Yeah,
it's on the website, Gloucester Cricket Board. Anything through Eric comes to me, or we can.
And you delegate it.
Yeah, and we try to do these workshops throughout the year, so we get people together. And again, it's networking, isn't it? You know how precious networking is amongst people, and we think that's worked in the past. We've had meetings here. We've had events at Cheltenham Festival where we've had 150 people in the marquee, and we've had a big CCC event here where we've had 300 people. So
it's well supported. I've noticed that even on the Zoom call recently, it was I think it was 50 plus people sort of tuned in on a Sunday morning.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's well supported.
Yeah. We tried to put things on. Last time we had you on doing your brilliant piece. We need to do a bit more, mate. Very long, was it? It
wasn't very long. I could have gone on a little bit longer, believe it or not.
But that's because we only gave everybody 15 minutes because Sunday morning is not the best for everybody. And we had Simon on from AGS Bowl, so he went through all that he did last year down there at AGS Bowl, and Vic was on from down. It was always great for some decent quotes, especially on 4-day pitches. So we just try and give people idea and get them involved, and you're not on your own, and we just want to help really.
Yeah. So how many teams play on your pitch then?
Well, as in home teams?
Yeah, how many home teams?
Well, technically it's Gloucestershire, now Western Storm. So the Western Storm ladies play. And also we host England internationals, one-day internationals. England under-19s games, England A.
So it's busy. We
have Gloucestershire blind cricket play here, a game a year. Some local finals when we can fit them in. There's always something going on, and this is where they train as well. So this is their training ground as well as their ground. So we're netting, obviously, like every day. So
the first team then didn't train. They didn't have a training ground. Sorry, I should probably know this. I've never asked.
This is their training ground.
I did know that.
You did, because that's why the nets are on the end. So we have nets on the end, none on there. So they would have been out there today. We've got a bolter out there today. They're not quite out there. So, but nets are going up Monday or for Monday. So they're out there from Monday onwards. COVID's different, so we've still got to work out whether we can get the whole squad in one at the moment. We're still waiting on that. But the nets hopefully up from Monday.
They're still operating in bubbles?
Yeah, they're in bubble inside because you're inside, so they're doing one-on-ones at the moment, but during the day.
Yeah.
So once they're outside, that obviously changes the system. But obviously they've got to have areas for changing and things. The marquee we're in now was used for changing for one of the teams last year, if needed be pre-season. So there's a lot of COVID regs to get round, but it's pretty safe here. What it's like trying to get in. It's like you're signed in. You've got
signed in. Do your temperature.
Yeah.
So the industry then. So when did you start?
I probably started back in when I was a landscaper in Bath. I messed my A levels up, because I wanted, from the start, I wanted to be in forestry. So I was looking to go to Cumbria. I'd been up for interviews for that, but stuffed my A levels up, so I was lost really because I had my heart set on it.
Yeah.
So I ended up spending a year. I did some landscaping in Bath. A great lad over there, so we were going all over the country, and then I went on a 3-year OND course at Cannington. There was no sports at the time. I wasn't really knew where I was going. I knew I wanted to be outside and use my fingers and get outside. Office wasn't going to be for me.
Yeah.
So I did a 3-year course there, OND at Cannington. My middle year was a year placement with Torbay Borough Council. Ended up doing everything down there from marking out football pitches, putting the American football pitch up for the Trojans down there, and filling in summer bedding displays for the floral part of Torbay Council at the time.
Yeah,
quite big in Chelsea.
Yeah.
And the summer I was in on the front, and part of the front working at there was to go across the Torquay Cricket Club. So I spent most of my summer over there helping Neil out there.
Yeah.
So that was it, and I got hooked, went back, and carried on from there. So that was where I got the bug.
So that's where it started.
It was
then.
Neil, and luckily Neil's still about, and he came up here last year, catch up. So
decent.
So that was good.
So how long have you been at Gloucestershire County Cricket Club?
Well, I finished Cannington, and I went to a civil service ground in Chiswick for 3 years. That was great. Loved my London experience. That was good. And then came back here in almost 10th of March, 1990.
1990.
1990.
You don't look old enough.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. Take those. We haven't taken those glasses off.
Yeah, no, you don't look old enough, mate.
Yeah, so 10th of March 1990. I can remember what I did first day as well. Yeah. So I came back as deputy head. And it's gone from there. A lot of changes around here.
So you've been here. So you've been here 31 years. Blimey. So what's changed? I mean, 31 years is a long time. So what's changed?
We've lost a lot of grass.
Yeah,
that's for sure. Of course, with the apartments going up, we'd lost quite an area there. A net area that we saw the Jessup Tavern go up and come down, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So that was quite an experience. But we lost our net area over there to the flats because that goes round there now. But compared to what it was, I mean, it was a field out here. Because it was so open. We had the school wasn't there, so we used to use the college field, as we called it. We used to have to cut that before internationals, and they used it for marquees and parking and things like that. So it's a school now. It's changed so much, but it looks more like a ground now than it ever did. And
well, it looks fantastic.
The floodlights are great, and it's things moving on each year, and it is great.
Talk to me, celebrities.
Okay.
We live in a selfie world, an Instagram world, and so on and so forth. What's your what's the best selfie you've had?
Trouble is, we didn't have selfies back when I get all the pictures that I would have been famous with. You know, don't get the pictures when the ball came through, Ian Botham it through the window. We were having lunch up in the pavilion, and the ball landed on our table. And Mike Gatton coming in and giving us part of his birthday cake one morning, and things like that. I was just out in the blotter with Freddie Flintoff trying to block the field off before a quarter final against Lancashire, and he took my job over and started blotting the field. It's things like that, and it's great things, and seeing wonderful people, great batsmen and bowlers. Bowlers are like Courtney. I can still see Courtney, and imagine.
So yeah, because Courtney used to play for Gloucestershire, didn't he?
Yeah, Courtney, and so I saw him the other year, and he still takes the piss out of me, so that's all right. It used to be me and Paul. You know how big Paul is, and when Courtney was captain.
Yeah.
When he asked for the roller, he then asked for which driver he wanted with the roller. So if it was a heavy roller, it was the light driver or the heavy driver. So
decent.
He was good fun, and he still remembers that when I saw him last week.
So friends in the industry. Obviously, you've been friends with a chap called Craig Richardson. You used to Bristol City.
Yeah, Craig.
How did that friendship come about?
Again, that was over a blotter, I think. I think that went down. I think we tried to get a blotter, our old water hog, down to Ashton Gate to try and dry one of the pitches out before a game. I think it got stuck, so it didn't work. But that was it. I think since then we've been best of mates, and we got another beer, don't we? And it's like
decent.
It's good people like that because they understand what you do. They understand your worries. They understand how you are, which is you need to talk to people in this world we're living in now.
Well, I think
health.
so.
It is difficult, and I'm not to say I went through a horrible time, and I don't mind saying that it did. But through talking to people, I feel better, and I want to make other people feel better. I don't want them to be in the same situation I went through, and you need to talk, guys.
Well, I think we're in an industry. Luckily, it's full of good guys.
Yeah,
it's full of good people, and you can talk,
yeah.
and it helps just to get it out there. I mean, I guess this last 12 months, 18 months, it's a lot of people.
It's good, and like the social media thing, perhaps, but the WhatsApp group and things like that we've got around. I mean, I was only on the phone to the head groundsman at Edgbaston 10 minutes ago as you walked in. That's the sort of racing we've got around the country. All the head groundsmen have got great communication with each other, and certainly through the pandemic last year, we were hearing more of what was going on than the coaches. So that all the coaches around the ground were coming to Master Groundsman, what's happening next? Because we had a better communication system amongst them.
So your network's better than...
Again, like things like in the World Cup, what things that ICC were looking for got passed around to the next group that were coming on. So we knew how to deal with things. So having that...
So it's not so secretive then. So basically you're happy to share, and if you know something that helps or something that's coming, you're happy to share with other people, and they share with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do that with anybody who asks. But it's been good, and certainly last year it was a godsend because you didn't see people, and who'd heard of Zoom, and
Zoom. Who'd heard of furlough?
Yeah, exactly. What word was that?
What's in your shed? And we're talking frontline machinery. What's your favourite bit of kit? What's in your shed?
Well, I've still got a Paladin, and I still love the Paladin for getting that last cut on the wicket. It's just easy to adjust. We've got the battery. We've got the battery outlet now. We've got battery Infinicuts. We've got the Baroness Triple. I mean, it's all essential to what you do. But the simple ones are the best. My Paladin is my favourite tool right there.
Is that your favourite of all time?
Well, it is because I obviously grew up with it, and it's like a glove.
Yeah.
You can feel it, and you can adjust it as you want it. And it's that final cut as well on the wicket, and obviously I don't do it so much now. Young Paul does it, so he's like, they're his babies really.
Bad habits. I know in golf, obviously a lot of golfers have got bad habits, but in the cricket world, is there anything that really grinds your gears, really winds you up? Is there any bad habits that cricket players have as a rule?
Scratching an X where they mark their spot. If it's a fielder scratching in the slip, so you don't know where he is, or on the outfield scratching across, and especially on the square, it's a no-go. He usually gets a shout from the side if we see somebody, it's usually the opposition. It's not usually the home boys.
Yeah.
They understand, but opposition will make a scratch on the square. Same with everybody. I'm sure every club would say the same. Yeah. So yeah, it does, and the batsman making Jonathan trot creases along the front line.
Yeah.
They're about 6 foot long.
Obviously,
they're a bit of a pain.
And so when that happens, you have to fill them back in, or is it?
We can. Yeah, it can. It depends how deep they go, but there's no need. I don't start with back wicket keepers as well. They do it as well. So yeah, no, I'll leave it there.
So out there. So what's in your mind? What's the most memorable fixture? Most memorable game you've had out there?
Oh, it was probably the England-Australia international, because it was probably my first international. So yeah, that comes back. Big memories. Not as much as someone tried to cut my hair the night before and I had a massive hole in the back of my head where I was trying to wear a hat all day. And on a hot roasting day I had to wear a hat. So yeah, so that wasn't good about. But it was a fantastic day of cricket, and you get to the end of the day, as everybody does, I'm sure, at the end of the game and everybody's gone, and you sit there and you realise that's what you do the job for.
Yeah. So. Decent. And was that televised?
Yeah, that was televised, so
yeah.
You can watch it back. And again, Peterson hitting some runs out here, it's great. Those were sort of things. Us at Lords, we ended up one season, we were up at Lords more than we played it here, sort of thing. So we had plenty of trips up there, World Cup final and things like that. So those were good times.
Well, is that days? Is that days out or is that days working?
Yeah, we did. No, we went up for days out for the finals. Finals out. We had the Super Cup. We had the the 50 over cup, and then it was the World Cup final. Yeah, so we managed to get tickets for the World Cup final. So we went up. It was a bit of a damp squib. Australia won it easily, but it was a great day, and it was great for the club. And only in 2015, watching Jack Taylor catch the ball just in front of us to win the game.
Nice.
Brilliant days out.
So you mentioned the fixtures earlier. So the plan for the year ahead, to fix this, the pandemic. Are you planning for crowds coming back in? Is there any shout yet on when fans come back? Or
going by the roadmap, there will be crowds coming in. To percentages, I don't know. There will be percentage. I'm just pulling figures out of the sky at the moment. I don't know. So.
I should mention, actually, obviously, you're a keen Star Trek fan.
I'm a Trekkie, yeah.
Yeah, no, we haven't touched on the Trekkie bit yet.
Well, you did. You mentioned Star Trek Enterprise. You almost said the Millennium Falcon, so I thought you were going to get...
Hey, listen, I've confused me Millennium Falcons and me Star Trek Enterprises before. So, so you're a big Trekkie then?
I am, yeah. Do a lot of conventions and stuff. I've got some uniforms and we go out and...
To be fair, I have seen. Obviously, we are friends on social media. Well, we're pals anyway. But so you go along, get all dressed up. Captain Kirk, beam me up Scotty and all that.
Similar, Joe. Similar, yeah. No, it's good because we got a good local group going now. And where we are again, national, we meet up with everybody. Again, it's good to get out and do something different and make a burk of yourself and stuff. It's fine. I don't care.
You've got to join in. You've got to have the...
Okay, well, lockdown's been bad because I bought a load more stuff. That's not good.
Have you?
Yeah.
What's your biggest Star Trek expense? Obviously, unless your wife's listening, we'll take some zeros off.
I think she knows it was a bat'leth. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cal's dad made us a bat'leth last year.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's ready to go on the wall, but I'll see.
Well, I'm sure all the trackers out there are buzzing for that. It means very little to me.
Thanks. It's the big Klingon sword, Joe.
Why didn't you say the Klingon sword?
Well, I did. It's a bat'leth. It's not a sword. It's a bat'leth.
You could have had mine.
You haven't got one. You've probably got a foam one.
Brilliant. Well, Sean, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for your time. This has been the Turf Hub podcast with me, Joe Hendy, him, Sean Williams. Stay safe. Sean Williams, stay safe. Stay safe, Sean.
Thanks for listening to Advanced Grass Solutions Turf Hub podcast. For more information, visit advancedgrass.com or follow us on socials using the handle @AdvancedGrass.
Joe Hendy for the Turf Hub podcast.
You need a better name.
Until then,
you need a better name for the title because you can't say it.
Turf Hub podcast.
That's something you can say.
It's a Turf Club, part of the Turf Hub podcast. Turf Club.
Thanks for listening to Advanced Grass Solutions Turf Hub podcast. For more information, visit advancedgrass.com or follow us on socials using the handle @AdvanceGrass.